Senior manufacturing, absolutely a gift for my opponent. Nano repair, not really good here. I go for range specialist. Getting some free extra, well, not free, but permanent extra range is a good idea. I'm still not selling these crawlers. That is definitely a mistake. I can bite myself in the butt for doing that. My opponent is getting good value out of the enhancement module, that has to be said. It's hitting some very expensive units. I go for some extra wasps and I don't have a lot of money. He now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 overlords with range and wasp production. All of that in theory loses to these wasps, but there are 6 overlords and 3 packs of wasps. One of them leveled, as is one of the overlords. Not exactly looking amazing. Now there is also something to be said about these wasps. They now have anti-air and range. That means they are absolutely scary to my opponent's army. At this point, my opponent's army is mostly air. They have some additional crawlers to cover them, but it's nothing major. However, they are starting to hit these overlords and they're starting to hit hard. You can see the amount of damage they're dealing to these overlords. This one got absolutely swarmed, and there's still some chaff in the way. My wasps here got defeated, but they destroyed a lot. And under a tower debuff, this is basically just a glorified cleanup operation now. Tower debuff comes in at a... oh, it doesn't come in at all. Never mind. The wasps are working. Look at this. 6 overlords taken down by 3 packs of wasps. More air units. This is about the worst thing my opponent could get. Scorpion, Fire Badger. Both of these absolutely worth a thought. My opponent already has a Vulcan. I choose the Wraith and sell it. My opponent chooses the Scorpions, I see. Levels are coming down on the Wasps. Definitely also a fan of that. And I think this is the round where my opponent... yeah, he goes into Launcher Overload on the Overlords. That means they are now exactly similar. They have exactly the same range as far as air units are concerned as my Wasps. 130, and there is 30 more. I guess now I have temp range, so mine outrange his overlords now. But these are definitely good. Also, shields on the wasps have come down. My wasps have EMP now, so they can shut down the overlords pretty nicely. If they get to hit the overlords, that is. Which should be happening. There's not too much on the ground, and my opponent has 3 units of chaff, excluding air chaff. Oh, yeah, no, those are wasps. There's no crawlers coming from here. Look at the EMP. It is definitely helping to disable stuff, but the overlords, by very nature of being overlords, still have a very decent amount of range. Shields disable the wasp shield. EMP disables the wasp shields instantly. Scorpions also die pretty quickly. However, my opponent takes the tower first. There isn't much left on the ground, but I do get a very good tower timing, and that means it's time to eat for these wasps. They feed on overlords. Though not that well. Enough AoE from the final overlord means that my opponent does take the round after all. Though it is close. Improved firepower control, haste module, heavy armor. I'll go for the improved firepower control. At this point, I'm just purely in the memes, I guess. Fortified Overlord, not sure, but in this situation, I think it's an absolutely amazing drop. Because it makes those Overlords just last a lot longer. He starts selling and upgrading. Meanwhile, I'm still sitting on this module. I haven't used it. I sold something else. I sold one of the arc lights here. They aren't doing all that much. And gave the final attack, Elite Marksman, to my wasps. And I can throw another item on one of these wasps. These already have an improved firepower control. Now these get one as well. I start hitting the rapid resupply button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 overlords on my opponent's side. Shields on the Fangs have come down. Also a very valuable tech, and I stagger these so they run in at different timings. Meanwhile, the remnants of the carry arc lights here. It still annoys me that I haven't sold these crawlers. They aren't doing anything but leveling these overlords. I should have done that so long ago. At this point, my army is basically chaff, a couple of remnants of carry arc lights, and then, well, these wasps here. Is that enough to stop all of these overlords? EMP is shutting them down. Overlords are exploding left, right, and center. Late chaff is doing absolutely amazing work at stalling the enemy army. And it looks like my army is going to take the win, although not by much. At the time, I didn't notice it. Probably because I was just plain absolutely mad, going for as much wasp power as I could possibly get. Now I notice that I definitely have a chaff clear problem. My opponent goes for deployment specialist. He levels this Vulcan and gives it incendiary bombs, and I can already tell you that was not even remotely on my mind. I think I went for the Iron Blast if I'm not mistaken. I didn't even remotely have it in my head that my army was super vulnerable to fire. Yeah, Iron Blast coming down. My opponent has Scorpions and Vulcans to tank and kill all of my chaff. I'm gonna see how good this EMP is. I was hoping he didn't level that Vulcan, but he did level that Vulcan after all. I finally sold those useless crawlers and gave the module to one of my wasps. I really have been doing a terrible job of stonking with it. Absolutely horrible. Legitimately absolutely horrible. More wasps with EMP instead of chaff clear or protecting against potential fire. When you have this many fangs, you should be protecting yourself against fire. Rhino drop once again here, but these wasps can clean a level 1 Rhino up very efficiently. And we'll see how the final round goes. I do try to make one of these plays, if you haven't seen that, previously. In my sort of community challenge videos that I did. I was able to win at one point by mobile beaconing some wasps around. I was seeing and trying to see if I can repeat that. But unfortunately the EMP and especially well, the health of the overlords is just too great, so it doesn't work. Meanwhile, all of my chaff has been cleared and there is nothing left to tank, or I guess stop the opponent from firing at my wasps under a tower debuff. So it ends up being an absolutely massive loss of epic proportions. I can barely speak anymore. 3,264 points lost, or health points lost above what my health bar could take. I'm just fumbling around at this point. Yeah, that was a staggering loss. I was hoping to be able to sneak these wasps by, and I guess maybe if that Vulcan hadn't existed, it would have been possible. But he put a Vulcan here, and that completely stopped it. Yep, I got stomped in the end. The reason is entirely that I didn't have anything on the ground other than chaff and some remnants of carry arc lights. I think next time I should just go into a more solid army instead of letting everything be done by wasps. They are not efficient enough at clearing chaff and big units like that when they're already being shot at by these overlords who still have enough splash range to do a lot of damage against clumped up wasps. So yeah, thanks for watching and listening. And always remember, fire needs to be protected against. Throw some crawlers here, throw some crawlers here, throw some crawlers here, and you're very much so not losing, at least by that margin. Thanks for watching and listening, and until next time.